Hey everybody, it's Chuck and
AJ.
AJ's in the car. Two Jacksonville fellas sitting here running around, and AJ reached out and said, "Hey, can I come see you today and let's drive 12.5? Because have you driven 12.5 yet?
No.
First time.
Yes.
So you know what it was is you were waiting on Hardware 3 to come out and go, oh, I'll just wait. It'll be in my car soon. And here 100%. We are. We don't have it on Hardware 3 yet.
Correct.
This is 12.5.1.3, and I had screwed up that number a couple times on my own videos just because we do have 4 digits, and it's getting kind of complicated.
Yeah.
We're sitting here looking at the turn where the ADAS drivers operate. They've been there every single day this week. Even yesterday, we saw the Cybertruck, and there was a Model 3. I don't try to be the expert on the Hardware 4 versus Hardware 3. I let the crowd do that. There are some subtle differences. So I don't know if that was a Hardware 3 car or not yesterday. Those of you that watch on X, it was that black car I posted. But anyway, yeah, so we got a couple things we want to talk about, but we just said, hey, let's hold that conversation for the drive.
Let's do it.
And here we go. Let's start off with the unprotected left turn here, and away we go. So it's good to see you.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, let me ask you about your experience so far on 12.5. Because you've been in a couple of versions.
It's smooth as butter, and I'll keep saying it again. Even the fuck-uppers are smooth.
Really? Because, you know,
let's focus on the turn here. Here's our NHTSA stop. I don't know what the traffic is. It is Saturday morning at 9:30, so it should be light. There's our creep. Looking left. Oh, wait, we might have a car here we got to interact with. Nope. This is going to be a roller. Okay. Ooh, fast coming cars, though, right?
Oh.
Fast. Now, he's in the middle lane, so is it going to take the left lane? And it did.
It did.
It used to not do that.
That is correct.
But when you saw that car coming, did you have that? He's going pretty fast.
I was like, is he going to wait till... I don't want it to go in the center lane and cut in front of the car.
Well, and even when those fast cars are in the left lane, what I worry about is... I don't know that the Tesla is looking that far, and that gap is closing so quickly. We've jumped out into traffic before, and then it's one of those, way too fast. And then I have to floor it or use the Tesla acceleration.
Correct.
Because it doesn't use the Tesla acceleration in an escape maneuver yet. I've never seen it go, oh shit, that was not enough.
Cool, and let me just step on it.
I've never seen it. It always uses slowing to solve a problem.
Yes.
And those of you that watch on the highway stack, it's kind of the same thing. It always uses slowdown to solve a problem. It never accelerates to go around a truck. It never, right? So, anyway, that was the unprotected left turn. We are going to do the firehouse turn, and then AJ's going to do a little bit of navigation so I don't get too many nags. Okay, I cut you off there, but we were going to talk about...
Yes, I was going to ask you about your personal, your thoughts about 12.5, and you were saying it's butter smooth and stuff.
Yep.
Right, and then I was telling you that I saw the comment from Edge Case, and he did a test drive. He's another tester in LA area, and he wasn't he likes to keep it. He'd give a detailed overview, and he thought that it was somewhat of a regression in some ways.
You know, smoothness hides a lot. A little bit of an unprotected left-hand turn here. This is our firehouse turn. It can go if it gives a commit, but it's waiting on that one. That was interesting. It could have made that, but I like that because there's a bigger gap here at the end. And AJ, you're going to delete that fire station turn now.
This one?
Yep. And done.
Oops.
Come on, AJ. Oh,
shoot.
You're my navigator. I do better than that. I'm the one driving.
My left hand is not that... I thought that was practice. Sorry.
All right.
This is reminding me of Austin back again.
What kind of first officer are you? Okay, here we are. This is crossing the street. We got to get 3 lanes over and railroad tracks, and it's wide open, so it's going to be able to do a crazy 3-lane change right here. Look, it's going to go all the way over.
Wow.
It had the blinker and straight over, and then green light to the railroad tracks. So it is protected now, so it should just go. But interesting, it stopped. That is incorrect. It had a protected green and it did a stop there. Did you see anything?
I noticed that.
Why do you think it did that?
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, it seems to be that it's just, again, being a little bit cautious. That's the only thing I could interpret from that. Yeah, and then, what is it doing here?
I added a loop, and I wanted to show you how it very quickly throws a U-turn in where it probably shouldn't. Now look, see this? You see that? It was just too slow. And did you see that oncoming car?
Yeah. You think it would have...
No, but that car had to stop.
It was slowing
because
down?
we were doing our
Yeah.
But my point is it threw in a U-turn just bam.
Just like that.
Hey, rather than, hey, let's wait a few seconds, let's go down to the light, let's kind of...
That was, it was very interesting. I mean, I love the fact that the responsiveness to me, it's like, okay, it's like if I want to make a quick maneuver change, I want to like, detour while in FSD.
There's a lot of people that disagree with me on that. We're going to do it again because I want you to see it a little bit more carefully on that. So we're going to go to St. Peter's, and while we're here at the light, I'm going to come back to the fire station. So it's fire station, St. Peter's fire station.
Okay, cool.
My thought is this, it's a straight road with these little medians that are designed for people to turn left into their houses or their cross streets.
Okay.
It's not designed for a U-turn. You can do a U-turn in it, but what the Tesla is doing is it's stopping in the lane of traffic until it's clear as if it owned the complete lane, and you don't want to stop there.
Okay, all right. I'm with you on that 100%.
So we're going to see if we can do it again, and I'll try to time it a little bit better, and you'll be... So it's going to do a right turn into the fire station.
Okay.
And then I'll turn it around and we'll reset the same scenario.
Okay, I now better understand what you're pointing to. So it definitely did not have any business I would not make a U-turn at that intersection as a human. I would not. So I see what you're saying. That it wasn't a U-turn event.
So rather than us navigate real quick, I'm just going to turn it around without FSD on here, and we'll set it back up. Vision does not like the same things the ultrasonics used to like.
Yeah?
Oh, Vision, it's not as sure where you are, so it just gives these warnings earlier. I am constantly
having to
telling FSD it's fine. Okay, I think that there is no stop sign here, but it's treating this as a stop sign. We did that before on a video. There's no stop sign there, and it's not even on the screen.
I see that, yeah. That is interesting. This is actually another nerve-wracking, unprotected left.
It is. Yeah. The angle gives it a better forward-facing view.
Yeah.
Which doesn't... But the problem is it's got these dynamics of having to do 3 lane changes.
Yeah, because you're making it do that.
Because it can get stuck.
Yeah. That's what you're trying to do, right? You want to see how it does this.
Yep. And it's done it very well almost every single time. Oh, we got the exact same scenario of a green arrow. Is it going to stop again?
Yeah, that is...
Look, it's even...
And it's green over here, too.
It knows it's green. It's treating a green arrow as a stop.
I mean, it could be that maybe it's trying to be like, hey, this is such an acute angle of a turn it's trying to assess in real time. I don't know.
All right, so now, you see, I've got a destination up here, but I'm going to delete that, so it's going to come back here is what I'm doing. And I got no cars behind me, so this is going to be a good thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and now we're going back to the fire station. And it's very quickly said reroute.
I was like, I'm glad it didn't do that.
But look, it's going to do it here, and watch how it does it. It uses this lane as like, oh, I'm just going to wait right here till it's clear.
This is not cool.
At least get in the... And now with no cars, it's going to do it. But this slow U-turn, it can't do it any quicker than that. So if you can't do the U-turn any quicker than that, then you better be damn sure you can fit into the gap that is created by cars going 40 miles an hour.
True, I see that, but I don't know. I think that it did do the U-turn speed to me was acceptable for me.
It is. The U-turn speed is fine, but that previous time it tried to squeeze it in a gap that was inadequate.
Right. I agree with
right?
that. Yes.
So if your U-turn is that slow, then you got to make sure there's nobody coming.
Yeah, and the big fail itself is the fact that you can't slow down right in the lane, which is, and it's also on top of this the passing lane technically, so it's tend to have faster traffic. So.
All right, now here we go. Is it going to stop on the railroad tracks? Or, it got a green light, so it didn't get to do it.
What would it do?
Yeah, I was trying to see if it was going to go to the I'm navigating here real quickly. I'm not going to let it do this because I'm going to go straight here. It basically... I've been in that scenario. I've been trying to see if at the red light it'll ever stop on the railroad tracks, which I don't want it to do, and I'm tagging that. Yeah. You either got to cross the railroad tracks and with room behind you to close the arm guard, or you got to wait in front of the railroad tracks so that if the train came, you wouldn't be stuck.
Right.
I wanted to understand railroad tracks as the no zone to wait. And I've always kind of said, and if you are anywhere near the railroad tracks, you need a bailout zone in case a train did come. Right. You don't ever want to be trapped in there.
Chuck, two spots come to mind. One of them is in Jack's Beaches area. There's a bunch of places where they're rebuilding, so they have these no road closed signs, and the car has been ignoring that every single time. So it is road closed, but then what happens, it finds a way right next to it. It's open and just scoots over. So I want to see what 12.5 does.
So Dr. Tice and I had a road closed scenario up near the Cummer that worked perfectly.
Okay.
And actually, we can do that if you want to do that now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go edit trip, add, and see if I have a recent in here. I'm going to get busted by looking at the screen. You watch. I know, I am.
It happens all the time.
Cummer. We'll do the Cummer Museum. We'll knock that one out. All right, so now we're headed to the Cummer.
Okay.
That is, let's take one of these routes. Let's do that route there.
Let's do that. Oh. Yeah, I mean...
What do you hear?
I don't know what is it.
I'm just making sure our camera's not going up the top of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we got a little bit of time to chat. So, you're thinking about getting a Cybertruck?
Yes. Oh, I mean, yes.
No, I mean, you've been like, Chuck, I want to do it.
Yes, I've been dying to do it.
I'm trying to talk you out of not getting the Foundation series because they were so close to having the regular cars.
Yeah, and you pretty much have, kind of convinced me almost.
I mean,
and it's
not that Foundation series isn't amazing. I just think we're so close. You just need to wait a little bit.
Yeah, but then, I mean, still the same truck with 20,000 less.
Well, but FSD's not included. There's going to be a whole. It's not like you're going to get ripped off. It's just you're not getting you're not getting the big tires. You're not getting the FSD included. You're not getting all the console accessories thrown in. You're not getting the D rings. You're not getting the bottle opener. You're not getting all of those things.
Sure.
The floor mats.
Yeah.
At least they're not mandatory. I mean, we got something for the $20,000 we paid. Maybe not $20,000 for the equipment. There was a little bit of first adopter premium in there.
Yeah.
But I think if you're not going to get Foundation, at least you can lower your entry price by saying, hey, I don't want the floor mats, or hey, I don't want the bottle opener, or hey, I don't want this, and you'll work your price down a little bit rather than having those mandatory included things.
Yeah.
And now I think the configurator even has normal tires as available.
Oh, does it?
As of this week, I think you don't have to get the off-road tires.
Oh, sick. Okay. I want to see what they look like. I don't know I've ever seen what they look like.
Sawyer Merritt posted a pretty good before and after kind of a GIF file, however you like to pronounce that it showed them both. Yeah. They definitely don't look as badass, but it gets another 22 miles of range, and they're probably a lot cheaper tires to replace.
That would be my main thing. I don't care about the range much. I mean, that's not how much. I don't drive that much, so it's like, that's the thing. Because in my car, I mean, right now with the performance, they're $500 a pop.
Yeah.
And so it gets up there.
These are probably similarly priced. I don't think they're a lot more than that if they are. Anybody got any pricing? Let me know. But
I'll tell you what about is Cybertruck. As far as I want to make a comment about Cybertruck and Turo, but you go ahead.
No, that's what I was going to ask. Is how are you going to make it work?
Yes. So as I spoke with Chuck, I was in New Orleans, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this thing. I have to have this baby because I rented the Cybertruck, and I was like, first and foremost, in my opinion, the steer-by-wire, I don't think it can be overhyped. It's one of those things that can be.
Steer-by-wire is one of my favorite features. Air suspension, steer-by-wire, and four-wheel steering are my top.
Yeah, I mean, talk about air suspension, by the way. I mean, I think air suspension, so, I mean, many of the large pickup trucks have that now. Have had for a while. And I don't know if I can differentiate Tesla air suspension from other air suspension. I don't know.
Well, you're right. I don't think that's a differentiator, to your point. I think everybody has that. I have never had it on a truck, so. Yeah,
because, and just for the steer-by-wire, what convinced me and what sold me right there was the fact that the maneuverability within city driving, typical like Publix runs or something.
Right.
That thing is like, it's crazy how easy it is to handle, and I want to make it make it sound too trivial, but it's actually a bigger deal in my opinion because it changes how driving happens and your fatigue over time, because the whole fact that everything is just one turn on left and right. Yeah. You intuitively I mapped to it so quickly, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So now on the same note, I don't know how much of a benefit would it be on a smaller vehicle to have steer-by-wire, which is eventually going to happen in Teslas and probably other vehicles too. But that's for some other day.
Yeah, it is amazing. So it talked into wanting one, and then
Yeah.
Now, and I'm just watching. It's getting in the left lane, but it needs to go right, and now it's jammed itself out.
Oh.
See this? Mapping is bad. Now it realized it, but now we got cars over here. Is it going to go for it? It
actually
freaking
did.
completely went for it with a car that led us through. But
Yeah.
so that was 12.5.3 lane selection.
I see that.
Edge Case talked a little bit about that.
Yes,
In Planner, it got itself in a bind. It
Yeah.
fixed it. But if I had to pointed it out, would you have even noticed? It was just smooth.
Very
as butter.
smooth.
If your mind wasn't on the
No, I mean-
navigation and I didn't bring you back to it, you probably wouldn't have even noticed.
I think I do need to make a comment about that right now, is that all this while, the smoothness, I mean, you have to be an FSD user for a while to be able to actually notice this thing, but
Yeah.
you'll notice it for sure. Like, it is definitely, like, very seamless. And it's to me, Chuck, it seems, I want to make a comment on this real quick. Like, I think the dots, what the way Elon and the way Ashok and the team has been talking about, to me, it's like what you said also about the U-turns. At first, maybe they're like, let's get the car to do these maneuvers,
Yep.
and then we're going to put in stuff, which is going to essentially make it, so this is, the smoothness is very apparent. Yeah, very clear.
Even the fuck-ups are smooth.
They're yeah, most definitely.
That little Planner versus Vision dichotomy there, it's almost like it's got schizophrenia, meaning like they're two brains, left brain and right brain,
Yes,
whatever.
yeah.
And when they don't agree, it seems like Vision wins.
Yes.
And it's like the Planner was like, no, you need to be turning right, but Vision went over in the left lane, even with the left blinker to get in the left lane, which does not make sense when we're taking a right.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it realized it, and so I feel like there's two brains in this car right now, and
Yeah.
maybe they're two different neural nets or something like that, but that's how it feels.
Yeah, the map has been the biggest disappointment. I mean, the alignment with the map route for
Yeah.
quite some time now.
Yeah.
Especially in 12 series, and many times it would it's supposed to go, the map would like, what are you doing here? Why are you going this way? And the car would make a completely different maneuver.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, two different things. Okay,
Yeah.
so, but back to...
Cybertruck.
Yeah. All right, so what I decided to do was like, all right, let me see. I rented the Cybertruck, loved it, and I said, well, why don't I put it on Turo myself? I buy it, and I put it on Turo right now, and let somebody else also enjoy it for whatever time a month, and then that pays for the truck or whatever it knocks off, and I get to enjoy it now versus when I can actually afford it without having to do the Turo, which will be probably sometime early next year. So that kind of got me into the direction of experimenting. And you're like, AJ, why don't you just try it with your own Tesla first and rent it on Turo? And I was like, okay, I don't think I can poke any holes in that. Let me just do that. So I did that. So yeah.
Well, I've never done it. Was it easy? Was it easy to put your car on there?
So I'll tell you this. So here's the thing. Put the car on, it's like not rocket science, very simple, right? You take the photos, they walk you through the process. First and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to Kilowatts right now.
Ryan.
Love the fact that he's been very supportive, very helpful, and guiding me through this way. And I've been asking him stuff. And thank you, Chuck, for actually mentioning his name. And also, I had a brief chat with Dirty Tesla as well, and Tesla Takeover. I'll talk about it a little bit later. So yeah, so when I said, let me give it a shot, put my car on Turo. 10 days in, I get the first booking. Amida's like, yo,
Nice.
hey, you got one. I'm like, okay. Happens to be a 21-year-old kid, all right? And then story gets really better after. I'm like, okay, he wants to have some fun, fine.
Yeah.
So he's like, sends me a photo on the day of the pickup of a paper version of his, and it's a temporary license. I'm like, okay, dude. So I'm like, I'm going to give my Model 3 Performance to a 21-year-old kid. And he had already told me he's like renting it for his girlfriend for a birthday or something. I mean, this kid is going to have a black party. That's what he's doing, 4-day rental. I said, all right, I'm going to go with the flow. I have to get the emotions out. Takes a car. I get a call back. I have to tell this whole thing now. I get a call back. On the day of return day, the girlfriend calls me, hey, by the way, the renter is in the hospital. Yeah. And I'm like, she's like, don't worry, there wasn't a car. And is it okay if I drive it back? I'm like, yes, sure. Because at that point, I want my car back. So, all right, so the specifics is they put about 950 miles on the car. Yeah.
In how many days?
4 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So they went on a joyride, I feel sad. But the car came back. I mean, I can't visually see any issues with the car.
Yep.
Ended up being rented out around $70, 65 average per day, which was very low. But if I don't have any rentals, so I had to get something out
Yep.
there. And so Chuck, I was going to say to you, I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense first of all, you have to have a spare Tesla, I think, or spare vehicle.
Yeah.
Because, so that's one thing. But I'm like, if you price it at a certain price point, I think people will rent it, especially the Cybertruck now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go for the model to buy the Cybertruck and put it on Turo. That's not going to happen for me.
You're not going to put the Cybertruck on Turo?
No. It's too. It's like, it's just not worth it right now for me to have that level of anxiety in some ways.
Anxiety about how many miles they're going to put, how old is this driver? Are they
Right.
Are they going to hurt my car, truck? Yeah.
Yeah, because those things
So
are
you had
real.
the gut. You were worried about it all weekend, or you were just.
I actually wasn't much so, but Chuck. But then at the same time, what happened is what I really was missing was actually being not able to spend. I don't know. I was missing my car on the weekends because I like to do FSD videos. I like to do stuff. Like I want to do stuff in my car.
Yeah. And 1,000 miles, for $65 a day is not. I don't know.
No, it's not. I mean,
I guess what I'm saying is that's a lot of miles on your tires.
Yes.
For $65 a day.
It is.
And, and that's not the way you drive it. So.
Yes, exactly. So here's the use case I'll say is that I'm thinking of considering actually continuing to experiment more with my car, jacking up the price twice to double the price.
Big pothole. It did not see.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this back again. So. So 5.1, I was going to say potholes, so it doesn't see them.
That was as good a pothole as I've seen, and it didn't deviate it around it at all. Oh, this is back. Complete stop with no pedestrians. It did this on a previous version too. Very close to that sign. And it's like the lead car may have impacted that. Interesting, we have a jaywalker here. That would have been interesting to see had he progressed a little further, how the car would have reacted. I'm sure it would have completely stopped.
Yeah.
So it's not seeing potholes. It does see debris and things of a certain size. I have seen it navigate around, but I know a lot of people are anxiously waiting on the pothole avoidance. It's just still not here. But we're up near Memorial Park, where many of you that watch this drive know I come up here quite a bit. I haven't done it in a little while because I've changed it up a little bit, but we were coming up towards the Comer to try to find that road closed situation that I ran into with Dr. Tice that was very well handled by the car, and just to kind of do a repeat to it. I might need to fish around to find it exactly, but we do have some, it doesn't look like we're going to interact with them at all. Some motorcycles just kind of were hopping off the side of the road. But the car's, it's just smoothly going down the road.
It is very smooth.
It's obviously we're in a 30, and this car in front of us is turning off, so it's taking its speed off of that lead car.
How is the approach? Like some of the times it would do on stop signs, it'll have the jerkiness, 2-3 steps, jerkiness.
The only stop sign jerkiness I think we really have is creep jerk. After it.
Yeah. It needs to go in. It wants to
It just
creep up.
is it. Yeah. I have seen, and it was documented yesterday on the drone video and before with Dr. Tice. It has some weird, if it's going and the light turns yellow, it's like a brake tap or two. It's almost like a human, am I going to go or not go? No, go, not go. And you change your mind twice or something. We're getting close to our destination, and I'm looking for the left to take. I'm going to go ahead and disengage because we're at our destination here at the Comer. And I'm going to turn left here, and we may need to add a point, because I'm looking for the construction. I need to probably put a waypoint on it. Anyway, I think that your Turo story is very valid. I've never done it, but I the fact you were talking about making a business case work, I was like, well, just do it, and I'd never done it, so I wasn't able to give you any advice on whether it was worth your while or not. A little unicycle here, that would have been interesting. Now, this pothole has a cone in it. I should probably mark that with a waypoint too.
Oh, so you want to...
Will it avoid the cone?
Yeah. But it does sometimes. I've seen it do. I'm like, I want to capture this on video, and I'm not recording. It's like it's like sometimes it'll see some debris or something, and it'll scoot around it. I'm like, so why can't it do potholes? They should be very easily visible, and just. That part to me is a major miss right now, because A couple of times it's caused my car to go through on those very rough potholes, and that can damage the car. I mean,
potholes, especially if we're saying we're going to be in the back of the seat one day, it is just another one of those things you have to somehow manage, even if it's crowdsourced data, and just figuring out where they are. Oh, now we get to go through 5 points.
I love it. I've done a lot of testing here.
Yeah,
yes.
so I just put our return point back in there to just kind of wrap it up after we get back. But it ended up going through 5 points. 5 points is a flashing yellow. It's not really a roundabout. It's kind of a free-for-all.
It's a weird intersection, man.
It did it just fine there, but I wondered, was that other car coming? That other car could have continued around as if it was a roundabout, and it kind of just proceeded in.
Yeah, anyway. This one is worth testing from all different sites coming in. So I did that one time, and it's to see if there's any difference in the way car behaves.
It might be an interesting video to park the drone right overhead.
Oh, yeah.
And get a top down. I don't know if we can fly here or not, if it's in an authorization zone, but that would be a cool perspective. To kind of see.
That's what. I was going to say, let's do that kind of stuff if you want. Like I don't even care if I am in the video or credits. I don't care. Like I just want to, I just enjoy this. Kind of stuff.
No, it's good. Obviously, these ideas are what keeps the content fresh, and obviously, the Tesla AI team that I hope watches these videos. Thank you guys for watching. If you do, some people have made comments before, and I appreciate it because that is my intent. It says, Chuck, it's kind of cool listening to your videos because it feels like I'm a voyeur listening to you talk to the Tesla AI team, and sometimes that is the way I narrate these. Is like, if the engineers are listening, think about this.
I mean, if they're not listening to your videos, whose videos are they listening to? I don't know.
They probably listen to everybody's, I hope. But
who's everybody else?
We're waiting on Hardware 3.
Yeah.
We're waiting on Cybertruck. We're waiting on sunglasses use with the vision control. We're waiting on Highway Stack. So there's a lot of waiting right now. Correct. Even though we have 12.5.1.3, there's I think it's like 65 or 70% of the cars out there are on Hardware 3 that don't have this version.
Yeah.
And that they don't have no nag. And that is a big deal, I think. There
are a lot of people with the version without the nag?
Everybody on Hardware 3 is on what
with
version? 12.3.6 does. 12.4 brought the no nag.
12.4 brought the no. Yeah.
And you have no nag on that version?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
I have 12.4.3.
So it's the people stuck on 12.3.6 that haven't bumped to 12.4. And remember, 12.4 was shut down.
Yes.
It was an initial release, and then they shut it down.
Yes. I don't know how I snuck into it. I'm not complaining.
I want Cybertruck to have FSD, but honestly, I'd rather have Cybertruck at least have auto steer. I could wait on FSD if I had to.
Sure.
If it needs work, auto steer or some sort of lane keep assist would be great. Motorcycles to the right, honoring the traffic rules, and it didn't even tap the brake there. That was good.
Yeah, but even in the current state, Chuck, I don't know. I don't think I can really consistently go back to non-FSD vehicles.
Well, once you get used to it, it changes the way you drive, for sure. But a lot of people just don't use it because of the need to disengage in awkward situations. It's waiting when I would go around. A lot of drivers don't want to be ready to disengage and take over. They just, interesting there, a little car approaching and waited, no issue there. It's like they don't want to be that type of driver that needs to worry about doing a disengagement and takeover. But you and I have kind of become accustomed to that's just the way you drive FSD. You just need to be ready. But
because it opens up so much time to do other stuff. Even thinking is different. Like I can think different things. I don't have to think about traffic all the time.
That's true. In the middle of the drives, I would. That's a rough one to go down because obviously we're supervising and we need to be ready for anything.
Yeah.
But in an airplane, we use a term called it allows you to be a higher level of management. Because the system is doing some of the tasks that your brain might be doing, it allows you to be a system manager a little bit better. But you're monitoring the automation rather than doing it. Now, if I was driving, there would be a part of my brain that is physically doing the driving. But because I'm not doing that right now, I'm looking at this car sooner than I might normally not see. I might see a pedestrian approach the edge of the road a little sooner than I might not normally, because my brain cycles aren't all used up physically moving the
Very
vehicle.
electric. I love that.
Yeah. So that is a benefit, and I think that is what ADAS offers today. So even if you're waiting on robotaxi, that's what driver assistance systems allow, is to take some of the tasks away from you. It definitely can see our blind spots with no occlusions better than we can, right?
Yeah.
You know, and as you age, turning around or is harder to do, and using your mirrors takes some skill and understanding.
I mean, just safety alone is distinctly safer than when it's not safer.
Yeah.
It's like not even a dispute.
I agree, as long as you know its areas. Like, if you were to say it's distinctly safer, but you expect it to bring you out of the public parking lot, you're forgetting that it's not allowed to do that yet, right? But once you get it onto the road, it is distinctly safer, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But you also have to recognize and not let your guard down so much that lane change scenario we saw a little bit earlier, you needed to be prepared. It might do something silly to fix itself.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
So so that part, 100%. That's where I mean, the supervision part is to, like, I love the way you say, like a manager, you said, like, pay better attention to what the car is doing, so you can predict what it may be about to do that might be. It's like, oops.
Right. It's put itself in a bad situation.
Yeah.
How's it going to fix it? And do I need to be prepared to stop it from fixing it in a way I'm not comfortable with? And this is a great intersection also coming up, only because of the dynamics and the angles. And there is a median that it used to. Can you see the median up there to the left of that Jeep?
Yeah. Oh,
it's got to do a wide angle and see it, and it's got it mapped very clearly.
It does.
But there have been times, and you can look at that median, see many people have run over that, humans included.
It has to be. I would just push it back. It's a poor design.
But this is a good example of, as an FSD supervisor driving a brand new car, with just 700 miles on it, I'm not going to let it do something stupid just to test it. If it's going towards that curve, I'm going to disengage it, even if it might have missed it by an inch or two.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Have you curbed your rims yet?
No.
Okay.
No, I have.
Okay.
I mean, I have. No, my wife has.
Okay, but it happens, and FSD, especially without USS sensors, I don't think it has precision like many people give it credit for yet. Maybe it can get there. Or the buffers it adds sometimes aren't enough. I think it's going to make it around this, but of course I'm going to be ready to take over. And that angle looks fine. See that? I wasn't worried about that a bit.
But you have seen it do it different?
It used to run on that right over.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
I've disengaged there many times. But not in a while. They fixed that a while ago. But my point is that's a good example. If you are new to FSD, don't curb your rims, right? Just raise your guard up and don't just trust it. Because it isn't worth it. Yet. But the more they improve this, the more confidence I get on all of these scenarios, where it's just becoming better and better.
Chuck, have you considered putting a yoke?
No.
Why not?
No, I have it in the Cybertruck.
No, I know, but like that's what happened for me. Like with me, like didn't think it would make a difference, but I'm like, I want this. When this thing went away, it made a difference.
Yeah. I'm not the only one that drives this car either, and there's some other preferences that are involved. So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I just get to put an HDMI mod on the screen.
Okay.
All the other things.
It's actually not exactly your toy. I see what you're saying.
Cybertruck is now my toy.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got about another 5 or 6 minutes here to head back to our return point. This is your first drive in 12.5. I know we've been talking a lot, and you might not have been paying specific attention to all the things that happened, but you wanted to drive it. What do you think?
I want to talk right now what happened. The way the car made that left turn
at the light.
At this light, it was butter smooth is what comes to mind. I don't know how to explain it though, but there is a very distinct, consistent difference in the smoothness part. So smoothness, I think, takes the cake for me. And which was, I think, a very crucial thing to get right. To get it mass adoption to happen. Even the things like when it's doing where like, okay, you know what? It's like map messed up, and it's like, oh, it missed a turn, and then it's kind of like scooted in to get asked. That was very. It
had its blinker on. It crossed a white line that was meant to be a divider. It did it.
It did it, and was very like cautious. Of the person behind him was like, yeah, go for it, because that's a very normal human scenario. So I think it's important for the public to be able to understand these vehicles can operate with them very human-like.
Yeah.
Because Common Joe, I think, will not really. They're not going to compute the fact that no, it actually should. It's better that if it doesn't do human-like, because then when it's going to be more safer and predictable. But people want to, I think, see the car do things the way they think the humans does, because they think.
So that example.
Yeah.
If I had some people that were critics about FSD in the car,
Okay.
they would have been more angry that it got in the wrong lane than how smoothly it corrected it.
Yeah.
My point is that, as soon as it went into the wrong lane, they'd be like, what's it doing?
Yeah,
Why is
yeah.
it doing that? And you and I are bragging about how well it fixed its mistake.
Yeah, so I guess it's the glass half full, half empty. I guess you have to have this other perspective.
Right?
Some people wanted to do better. And my son is a great example. He's 21 now, and he's like, he stopped using it because he would drive it occasionally, and his drive would be in the city. And he said that's exactly the comment he made about the other person. It's like, I have to pay too much attention. Constantly taking it out, I'm not dealing with it. I'll deal with it when it's better.
Yeah.
And that's such an arbitrary thing. I'm like, what is your definition of better? What are you looking for? I don't know.
I talk to a lot of people that's exactly where they are. They don't want the tiny screw ups. I've even got questions about, on the highway stack. Sometimes it wants to do a lane change. Well, do you want lane change chime or vibrate on? Well, if I don't want it to do a lane change, then I have to turn the lane change off with the blinker. And then if I use the other blinker, then people behind me think I'm crazy. I got left blinker, then right blinker. You stay in the same lane. Who are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's that kind of, how do I appear to the people around me that I think some people keep them from turning it on?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. Again, because people have different focuses, so they don't see the vehicle this way, and they don't see they don't look at the engineering aspect of it, but that's okay, I mean, it's fine.
We're on a journey. We're not there yet. You and I can see the path and where we're going. But if you were to put this inside of a Hertz rental and somebody picked up a Model 3 with FSD today, their mind might be FSD Supervised is much different than it actually is, and their first experience might be like, whoa, what the heck is it doing? I think if they can appreciate that what it is doing is absolutely freaking amazing, especially in the middle of the drives. I've described these drives as a bell curve. The beginning getting on the roads and the end getting off the roads, whether it be in parking garages, parking lots, driveways, or whatever, are still a little rough. And without reverse, not even possible in some scenarios. But once you get it onto the road like we are now, it really is amazing.
Yeah, I have an idea. I think now that you mentioned that, Chuck, you kind of gave it away. I think there might be value in having a video that you might want to do, which could explain aviation, the artificial, the autopilot in aviation, and the similarities that you observe, that you see.
I did one not too long ago.
Did you?
This is an unprotected left with nobody coming. It's not even going to roll.
See,
easy. Just the smoothness of that, just like you would have done. Yeah, the aviation thing, it keeps coming back. A lot of people like that kind of content because they're if they're not pilots, they don't understand. And pilots are, autopilot is not hands-free. It's automation management. It takes away tasks for you.
On a plane, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So in other words, it'll navigate left and right if you give it a route, just like navigate an autopilot will. It'll maintain an altitude if you set the altitude, but I have to set the altitude, right? There's some other things there. So I'm an automation manager. It's taking away the physical task of me needing to fly the aircraft and maintaining altitude so that I can start listening to the radio better, or I can do all these other things.
Sure. Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know if you've covered from that angle about the fact that, hey, listen, some of the things that you see in FSD automation, it's something that has been something that people have been enjoying for decades.
Yeah.
In the form of aviation. Yeah,
but people want to say, well, why would you? The pilot analogy isn't literal because we're on our way to pilotless. So don't give a pilot analogy. And I'm like, well, we're not there yet, right? So I am a supervisor today, just like I'm a supervisor in an airplane. A lot of people want to say, but that's not where we're going. We're going to autonomous, where you're not even going to be in control. So why bother with alerts and tones and bells that I would say are helpful for safety if the end goal is autonomous. Anyway, it's a great conversation.
Yes.
I'll probably keep doing that, and we can do it together if you'd like, because sometimes that conversation is better, having a question and answer on that. But let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I 5.1, right, final overview right off the bat. The smoothness is very real. The fact that the vehicle handles some of the fuck-ups really, really well, to me, is actually probably the best compliment to give to this vehicle, to FSD 12.5, because that's when things really, I think, would separate the people who are the adopters.
Yeah.
Because the moment the car would fuck up in some ways, and they're like, okay, if this is going to happen all the time, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And they would turn it off. And this is, I think, a very plausible way to determine the fact that this is the step in the direction. So, but
Yeah.
of course, you know, you could call me biased. I don't know.
Well, thanks for coming today,
Thank
AJ.
you, Chuck.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Take
too.
care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you later.